what if not all the songs are specifically worship songs to Jesus?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like, what if we're not saying, talking to him directly, saying his name and things like that?
So you sold out by making something other than a song?
Yeah, I think music should only be like one style in one direction, and all other forms of music are probably leading you astray.
Well, I had the opportunity to share this with a group of women on at Rooted on Friday night, which, by the way, I've been a part of that several times now. That has been a place where the most people that talk about our songs it'll come out there. Like,
in Rooted?
Yes.
Rooted Celebration.
Rooted Celebration. People are not only just talking about Rooted whatever, they're saying hi, or, oh, we love, we really enjoy services here. They're like, I love this song. I heard Remember When. I heard No Matter. I heard the Shiloh concert that they watch all the time and sent to two of their friends. There was a Victims and Villains reference. There was Then Jesus. You know what I mean? Like, just people are just saying, this is my favorite song, or I love this. I love what you guys are doing. And so they had a few volunteers helping me. And one of them just, like, they really love all the songs. And they're like, are you guys going to be working on a new album? I'm like, well, I'm glad you asked about that. We are. Like, oh, what's it called? What's it about? And I said, oh, it's called SOS, Cry for Help. And SOS stands for Subtly, Overtly Sacred. And the idea is that all the songs on the album are sacred, and some of them are subtly sacred, and some of them are overtly sacred. Well, what do you mean? I'm like, well, you mentioned this song, and this song was on this album. This song was on this album. They're different albums, different songs. You may hear it on a Sunday morning, you may not. But they're all sacred, and they all speak to, who he is and who we are and our human experience and our relating with him. And yeah, so that's what the next album, you're going to see kind of a mesh of all different kinds of songs. And they're like, oh.
What did you do that for?
I was like, yeah. I go, what do you think? They're like, well, that's interesting. I'm like, well, yeah, it's SOS. I don't know what to do with it, but it's going to be good.
To cry for help. I mean, so many people struggle with that. I don't know. I mean, I guess that's just, I know people that do, so I can't say so many people, but I think people do struggle with that. I would say, coming into this community and then, being able to meet you guys and work with you guys in this capacity on this kind of music, it felt a little bit like a runoff of maybe something that was already sort of happening. So it's probably something that was already in you guys, in the two of you specifically, is a wide, so an open mind and an understanding about that. I mean, historically, this church community has done walk-in songs, which is, I mean, you can speak really good to that, but like walk-in songs would be what?
Yeah. A walk-in song at one church is us being as the most intentional with every moment that we are together. Mm-hmm. And because we pray for one, mm-hmm. and we're asking God every day for someone to share his love with, the walk-in song becomes a tool that those of us that are praying for one, like, we could share that. Mm-hmm. That's a shareable thing.
It's the subtlety, perhaps.
Yeah. And it's fun. It's upbeat. It doesn't compromise who we are. It oftentimes relates to where we're going in that service, So, but we're very intentional to use every moment to carry out what we do. So we connect to God, connect to people, connect to mission. Right.
And when those songs are what? Like, we've done
like a couple minutes. Oh yeah. So we've done. Yeah, they're all over.
They're not necessarily like a worship genre song. It's the walk-in song could be maybe a Beatles song. Maybe. I mean, We've done Beatles. We've done so many different like top 40 songs over generations, and so I think what I'm feeling there is like we've already been really into the subtlety. And then we also lead right into the overtly.
We do it every Sunday.
Right, in any worship service that we have. So
Yeah. And the thing I enjoy about it, because I've explained it to a couple of people in this way, it's a way of connecting to people as well, right? Like, God wants us to connect to him, connect to others, connect to, mm-hmm. It's kind of like you're in Fenway Park, and you got seats next to strangers.
Right.
You don't know them. You don't talk to them for hours. And then all of a sudden your team hits a home run and everyone's best friends. It's just something that's a common connection that is,
And also everybody knows Queen.
positive, and and everybody knows Sweet Caroline, right? So,
Right.
But it's nothing that, you know, it's a moment to be able to drop guard and to enjoy and connect and because people are coming in from all over the map and
Yeah.
all over life circumstances, and this is a way of welcoming, but also subtly worship into where we're going,
Creating some
what do
solidarity.
you think? What do you
I
guys
have so
think?
many thoughts.
Yeah.
Well, I know that we do catch flack, or it can
sure.
be troublesome for religious people, which is understandable because religious people do have a propensity to want to keep everything separated.
Mm-hmm.
You got to keep them separated.
Yeah, don't even get to that. Yeah.
which is what Jesus caught flack for. Yeah, thank you. I just want to hear that song.
Got it.
Keep
Keep them separated.
Go ahead.
Such a fun tune. Anyway, but Jesus, that's what he caught so much flack for. It wasn't just that he was eating, with prostitutes and tax collectors and sinners. It was that he was eating with them at the same time he was eating with Pharisees, with the religious leaders. And so that's what they were really upset about. It was like, wait, we're keeping this separated. And that was so that they could be holy and not be unclean and follow their interpretation of the law and their traditions. Was like, this is really important, and you're messing up our religion by combining this. And that is one of the things that the walk-in songs will do, playing what people would refer to as a secular song in a sacred space, in a worship service. But it's intentional. Like we're redeeming the song. We're using the song. And people will argue like, oh, well, that song is not intended for that. I'm like, it is today. That's
Right.
what we're using it for. I mean, it's also communicating, hey, God speaks our language. Like, oh, I'm supposed to have everybody come in and only have music that they've never heard before, and any kind of style that they've ever heard before or listened to before, that doesn't maybe necessarily connect with them, no familiarity, or you come into a strange space, for something that you're uncomfortable with, that you've never experienced before, and you hear a familiar song. Mm-hmm. And you connect with that. And then through the experience, it's like you can see how that connects to the whole of the experience. And so it's a way of going, it's kind of like going, well, you can only worship God if you're in this space at this time listening to this kind of music. Hmm. And what we're saying is you can worship God in any space at any time with any kind of music. Hmm. And that, like, which is more like God.
Right.
I mean, that's what like, he's omnipotent, he's omniscient, he's everywhere all the time. Like, he's limitless.
Right.
And yet our worship of God gets so narrow and so limited to say it can only be this. And that's what religion does. So then you create a system and a dynamic where it's just all about, I visit God once a week.
Yep.
And that's the extent of this. I'm paying homage, I'm paying a visit, where we're trying to allow that expression where we do gather and we do worship, but to represent a much larger, all-encompassing, limitless worship of Him that can utilize anything.
What led you guys to that, sort of that end or that conclusion, I guess, where was it just like a sensitivity that you had towards these kind of people that you're mentioning that were coming into these spaces for the first time? It seems like a lot of people don't have that perspective of like, what does it feel like to be the new person the first time I walk in? What am I going to experience? And it seems like you guys had a real sensitivity towards like, if I was that person.
Well, just to be clear, it's not just for that person too. Dan alluded to this, and I thought said it really well. The people who are praying for one, asking God to give them one person to share His love with, these are shareable moments. And so, like, one of the things I would always look for, particularly early on, was when did cell phones go up?
Right.
They're recording. Why are the cell phones going up? Why are people recording this song in this worship service? Because they're sending it to people to be like, hey, I want you to come experience this with me. It's a tool.
Yep.
Not only for that moment that day, but it's communicating something larger. Like, hey, we care, we are paying attention. people will be welcome here. You can invite people. There is something that they can connect to, and then something obviously much greater than just that, because it's a walk-in song. It's the first words. They're not the only words. That's the thing to remember. It's like a sermon or anything else. The first words matter. If it's good morning, glad you're here. It's great that we could gather today in the house of the Lord.
My name is... Sorry.
Yeah, it's like
just leave all your baggage behind.
I'm not sure it's not as engaging as Jesus coming out like the Sermon on the Mount and be like, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for they will inherit the kingdom of God." What? He's like, no, I'm talking about happiness. You guys want to be happy. Everybody cares about happiness. That word blessed means happy. He's like, let's talk about happiness. Like, you care about happiness. The Father cares about happiness. You're his children. But it's not, happiness isn't necessarily what you think. It's the poor in spirit, the spiritually destitute, the ones who don't achieve and aren't in and are on the outcasts. And that theirs is the kingdom. The kingdom of heaven is yours. You can be happy. Like, oh, all right. That's not all he said. He didn't just talk about being happy. He digs in and he's like, love your enemy, love your neighbor as yourself, give to the needy, pray. I mean, it wasn't the only thing he said.
Right.
But it is what he started with. So the first words matter.
Yeah.
First note of a worship service matters. I have more to say, but about the
I already know, and I know. I was like, let's
and I'm happy to say it.
Let's sit here and wait for him to just say.
What are you talking for a minute?
let him cook.
And part of your question was about what led us to the sensitivity. Well, in praying for one, you envision a much wider scope of people, and,
right?
And your self is challenged to be ready in the Lord, to give him your yes and like to be ready for whoever he brings. And then it gets really, so in praying for one, we're seeking and saving the lost. You know what I'm saying? And so to tie that into what Bo was saying was, and so how God has approached us, everybody, right, with open arms, and he's everywhere and he's in everything, and the earth and everything in it belongs to him, right? When we start to align with that, then self can get in the way and say, whoa, that's too wide. Whoa, okay. And you kind of lean into the religiosity of things again, and it's like, how do I align with you, Lord, with the scope of who you love and how you approach people and how you're available to people, and so I think it's because in praying for one, he's showed us ways of loving everyone in really simple and fun, engaging ways and defense dropping ways, and so we won't ever needlessly offend people with that,
right?
Not intentionally.
Never, not intentionally, because I'm not. That wasn't to say that we haven't ever. I got
sure. And he both said that. But there are religious people that are going to go, "Hey, why are we doing this?"
Or maybe we're not choosing something that would compromise who we are.
Well, a song can trigger something in somebody.
For sure, their recollection back
they
way back
had
then was
last
not
time
good.
I heard this song,
they
that
had
was my ex's our song, or
you had an experience with a song or that wasn't good. That does. I mean, that can happen with any. I mean, that happens all the time with all the elements of the worship service and things like that. So I mean, not needlessly. I'm not trying to be unwise about that. But
yeah. And so I think what I'm hearing is like the walk-in song is the most connectable, relatable, some way to just create immediate solidarity with everybody in the room. Everybody's like, oh yeah, they know the song. And it's
no.
People, their idea of a walk-in song is more like, oh, we're just trying to get people out of the lobby into the room. Go.
Okay, yeah. That's what I was going to say.
Your turn. Go.
No, it's. I would not call it the most. It's a part.
Yeah.
And it is the first. It is the first thing that's happening from the stage in the worship services that we do at One Church. And my experience and with Dan, and when we started doing this, at that time, our worship services would start with the band kind of doing an instrumental riff on one of the praise songs we might be doing that day.
Okay.
And that would be the first notes that we played, followed by some kind of welcome, and then into the first song. And I would be in the lobby, and I noticed that the lobby would be full of people, and they wouldn't go in to the room until halfway through the first song. And also at that time, as soon as they took communion, like
They gone.
30-40% of the room would leave. Kind of a lot of people had experienced maybe some active Catholicism, and so communion was really key, like in that. So you get your communion, you can jet, you did your thing, which was kind of indicative of some religious duty kind of happening. I'm here, I don't really want to go in, and I want to get out as soon as I can. I kind of want to get this over with. And so it's like, oh, well, what are we? Is this the best tool then for people who are praying for one? Something that they're really interested in going into, and they're trying to get out of. So it's like they're less likely to share that with the people they're praying for. So what do we do here? So I was talking to Dan. I was like, excuse the crassness of this language, but this is what I said. Yeah. I said, hey man, I would really like the first thing that's happening on stage be something that sucks people in instead of just sucking.
Yeah,
is what I said to him.
Yep,
and that's kind of where we're like, oh. Well, it was a good moment for me. It was the first time I'd ever said it.
It was a good moment for me because when you said it, I then envisioned, okay, what is it that we're doing? Oh, we're doing this little musical score thing first. And in my mind, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this, but it felt like good morning. Well,
yeah.
And so when I was like, when you said that, I was like, oh yeah, I don't want to do that anymore.
Because it felt like to me like it was the most afterthought, the least intentional, the least rehearsed, if at all. It was like, hey, let's just play the chorus to whatever tune. And I was like, as a preacher and communicator, I'm like, I'm not doing that with. I mean, I know preachers do that, but like first words, they matter. Like, what are we saying? Like, what is the energy we're bringing? What is the tone that we're setting? How are we connecting with people? And it's like you only get one chance to make a first impression, and our first impression was we didn't really prepare. We're not really that interested in this moment. No offense, but I mean that's kind of
Well, by just by nature of just playing that musical thing, there's not any fun for us to even have on stage with it.
Yeah,
right.
So talk about energy. Like there's not a lot of. We're not like into this instrumental that. With no words, so people have no context. You can do that, but you're alone in that. In a time where you're looking to be intentional and welcoming, and
the energy's not even there yet.
The energy's not there because we're not going to play that chorus like we're just trying to welcome people with a poor tool, and it ended up sucking. No matter how well we played it, there was no life to it. Nothing for people.
Yeah, the energy was leaving the room, not drawing into the room, and. So that's why walk-in song like.
How long did it take to see that shift? So hold on. As you say, everybody loves an origin story. So the origin is you're in a lobby. You're like, okay, what is happening? People are not in. Dan's on the thing trying to get into a chorus. It's not really taking you where you want to go. Okay, we're gonna try walk-in songs. Like that was the next.
Well, it wasn't completely foreign because we had done, some featured moments in services before and
special
may
songs
have leaned into that. So it wasn't uncommon for us to think that way or to use music in that way. I remember, I want to say it was 2016, maybe 15. 2016, but I remember the first week was March 17th, the first week that we did it.
Okay,
because I remember who was on staff and what song we chose, and the song we chose was even more interesting than like the.
So this had some life impact for you because you're like I remember the day
it was fast.
It was within weeks of the conversation, within a month. It was definitely.
Well, we never do anything fast.
It was like, hey.
Let's make a change.
Easter is coming up, but we want to do this before then, at least a few times. That's why I remember it was March 17th.
Yeah, because Easter was probably April.
Right. And what
was the song?
Yeah. Hold on. What was the weather that day? No, I was kidding.
I don't know, but there was a lot of college basketball going on.
Okay, March Madness.
Okay. And the song was
We Will Rock You?
Madness.
Oh.
Oh. Mad. So we went with a Muse song
Ooh.
that talks about mental madness. But the intentionality of doing walk-in songs, you know what I mean? I'm ready to champion it at that point. Like when he brought it up and we were like, oh yeah, and I was like, oh yeah, I totally see what you're saying. Then it was, all right, how do we get the whole ministry on board with this within the next 2 weeks? And we know that can create a pressure, for people, and maybe even people on our team won't get it or want to get it, and we got to understand that.
Well, it's a different caliber of song too.
Oh, it's totally different.
You're singing like 4 worship chords on a worship song, and all of a sudden you're like, hey, we're going to play this complex walk-in song,
Yeah. And
people know that we're responsible for doing really well.
If you do it bad.
I mean, it ramps up. I mean, it ups the
Yeah.
the energy of prepper and everything. But go ahead. Yeah.
But despite all the good that this could produce, and intentionality, and sensitivity and praying for one, despite all that, still people have their mindset. They have their solid line box around, or their religion around what it's supposed to look like. And so it's hard, or at least not quick, for everyone to jump on board. So now you have a team that's trying to make sense of that while at the same time playing it. And but I remember doing it well. That song was really it was full of energy and intrigue, and I get excited coming out of that song, and the words after that, after the walk-in song, I find to be really important. Like
The call to worship.
Yeah, the call to worship.
Yep.
I spend time with that. Our worship leaders and all of our residents and the taught, we lead out with intentionality. So upstream, knowing this, how does the Lord lead us into a time of worship with this? It could be really sweet. I don't want to complicate it and make it long and winded, but I don't want to just come out and be like, hey, hi, because then you're just sucking the energy out again. Let's just hey, this is that truth that brings us to who he is. Let's go ahead and worship him. And I think so many of our team members that were walking through that, they found something. They found the Lord enlightening them in their hearts and minds, and in regards to that. But
do you guys remember March 17th? Not specifically that date, Bo, but just mean do you remember the first time you did it, and then you come out into the lobby where people are like, what the heck was that song? Or people are like, oh my gosh, this is great. How did you go from we're going to try this on week 1? What was the timeline? Okay, we're going to go 6 weeks with this. We're going to just, or was it we're all in, we're going.
It wasn't as
planned out.
It wasn't as planned out.
Okay.
The only framework we needed was in that conversation, and then it was okay, let's do this. And we did it, and it wasn't hey, did it work? We were just going to do it.
We didn't poll anybody.
We didn't poll anybody. People enjoyed
sure, but I mean,
it.
the lobby is always where people come out to give you their thoughts,
Yeah, and
I don't think they. So Dan had to deal a lot more with the naysayers.
Oh, because of the band and all these things.
And guests too. They've only known you one way in this way, and now it's different.
So
right?
me, I wasn't dealing. I was just dealing. So what I can say is that people weren't taught. They weren't taught. That wasn't the focal point.
Mm-hmm.
They were, which is always great. We want the focal point to be Jesus. What are people talking about? Even if they enjoyed the song or whatever, if they were saying anything about it to me, it was oh, that's really cool. I wish so and so would have been here. They love that, or that that song means a lot to me, and it was really special to hear it in that way. I mean, that's most of what I got. Dan had to deal with some of the
sure
a lot more of the conflict.
But you saw the result of it. It sounds like pretty quickly you saw the lobby was probably.
Well, the result was a worship team that was engaged from the jump, and excited to play, and was doing something that they love to do, play a really great song, and do it really well. I mean, that's massive win right there. Just to start with. So
the feedback is not. The feedback that you would value is probably less in the lobby and more in the moment, right? So we're gonna do this. We have fun with people doing people perk ups. The teenagers some other people enjoy it. Someone nudges somebody. They're having that our team made the home run type of moment.
It's not
so people enjoyed it and applauded afterwards. So it's but
that's what I was gonna say. Even if it's not your song or your style of music or whatever. Seeing people do something really well and enjoy it and have fun with it and have life with it, that's worth applauding for.
Mm-hmm.
And so the claps that come out of that, which are not like, oh, you guys are amazing. It was like,
That was a lot of fun.
it was like, that was fun, and I'm a part of it. I'm in this moment.
And when I have fun,
Yeah.
and when I enjoy my,
I'll clap.
yeah. But yeah, there's naysayers, and well, something that you, Bo, have mentioned a couple times, even recently, was like good leadership. Good leadership doesn't begin with, "Hey, what does everybody want to do?" You know what I mean? Because like, you do you remember that?
That's like, let's all lead together.
Hey, what would everybody like to change? Nothing.
Yeah.
I don't like it, but I don't want to change anything.
Yeah.
That's
I'll just bear it.
So leading out is
Yeah, I mean, I just think like what
takes time,
I just think like when we start talking about the fourth record, and I hear subtly, overtly sacred. This is not like a new concept in this space. You know what I mean? It feels like something that's been happening. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
we're putting some wording to stuff that we're writing as Shiloh Battles and doing, but there's also just like a church community of people that are not like, oh, subtly overtly sacred, and then if it's explained in the way like you shared it with some of the women at Rooted, they're like, yeah, it's, you know, because there's been like not a training, but there's been like an openness to that in the community, you know, where some people, you know, they just they would never even think of playing a song that's not, you know, vertical on the stage. Like, oh no, like just never, you know. And again, I'm not judging anybody with that. I'm just saying,
I mean,
it just is what it is.
yeah. As far as when you see it, the earth is the Lord's and everything in it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's scripture. The
Yes.
earth is the Lord's and everything in it. And so when we start trying to delineate between the sacred and the secular, it's an exhausting task because it's not a real task. You know, it's like what makes anything sacred, you know, and some will get into intent, you know, like, well, this song isn't sacred. Why? Because of the words. All right, well, or because of the, you know, or it is sacred because of the, well, it's like, well, who made the guitar that it's being played on? Mm-hmm. Was that a sacred guitar company?
Right.
What was their intent when they were crafting the guitar, when they designed the guitar? Who made the notes? Mm-hmm. You know, where did they come from? It's like, oh my, what a futile task and that is kind of the nature of religion. It's exhausting because it's our effort, and it's all human effort, as opposed to being like, oh, the earth is the Lord's and everything in it. God, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
How can I engage in whatever is going on around me in a way where I'm thinking critically, and recognizing what God's up to and who He is and who I am in relationship to Him, and where are there truths and what emotions is this connecting to, and that's where you get all the beauty of it, and it just destroys barriers.
Yeah.
if anything could be worshipful, maybe not everything, but in the context of what we're talking about, if all these songs and all these things could be worshipful, then what's sacred is really how we've been made in God, right? And that's
the
sacred.
recipient is the sacred.
Recipient is the sacred part, and
There are the participant, whatever.
Yeah.
It's the participant is the sacred part, not the thing.
not the thing. The thing, if any, no
Like,
matter
who's
what the thing is,
the church a building?
Right.
No, it's a person. It's a people.
Right.
yeah, it can be worshipful, but how so yeah, it's like saying, you know what, whenever the sun is out, man, do I just feel the light of the Lord, but when it's storming,
No,
that's
he's not
okay.
there. Yeah, that's when he's
Like,
angry.
not there.
Can't think
There's
about God when there's
can't think
rain.
of it, no, because it's dark and it's uncomfortably wet and it's maybe cold.
And that's not the
there's
Lord.
nothing sacred about,
Yeah.
There's sacred weather and unsacred weather.
yeah.
Yeah, the rain
So,
falls on the righteous.
Where do you end? And in all those situations, you're the judge yet again. And
So
we
you're
all
kinda
make a
God.
bad judge. Yeah. So,
I'm my own God again.
yeah.
Oh wow, that's not fun.
Yeah, I was sort of. I think we were in different spaces during this era when you guys were kind of discovering and going, hey, well, this is how we're going to start crafting our worship services. And I was dealing with, a similar type of mindset because I was traveling and doing music that was subtly and overtly sacred. Like there was some songs were like worship, and then others were like subtly. And they'd be like, "What was that song about? Were you singing about candy? What is that?" And it was like, we can't listen to that. It's not about Jesus. And it'd be like, well, if I go to buy a car, I have to make sure that the guy I'm buying it from is a Christian, or I can't buy the car from him. He has to be a Christian car salesman. Otherwise, that car doesn't have the same value. And people would be like, we can only do things if it's Christian,
Well,
if it's got a Christian label.
Yeah,
it's not a Christian song, so we can't sing it. It's like, well,
or we can't sing that song because the person who the artist behind that song stands for this, that, and the other thing, and so we just don't listen to that person because we don't support that person. I'm like, whoa, we have a song here, we have a piece of art, that is meant to be used and interpreted, and that's how art, becomes memorable, right, and savored, is that what this means,
right.
And so there's been people that have come out of service before and have said, I didn't know that was a song about God. They'd be like, I don't know that it is, but in this song called Madness, and everything that causes madness, what he ends up crying out in the chorus is, I need your love. Like, no one would have picked up on that. They picked up on the madness part, or I don't know, whatever it is, but it's like when we know him and we start to see things through a gracious lens, and
you reframe,
you have a different framework to work with.
Yeah.
And I have found that is, I feel most confident in whenever I feel most confident in him in just like, it never ceases to amaze me, just like how God uses anything and everything, and that's hard. That was hard for Habakkuk, right? Was like, or I believe it was, and I apologize, but where he said that, God, your people, the Israelites, they're a mess. The idolatry, the perversion, everything going on here. And he's like, God says, don't worry, I'm going to send the barbarians from the north to punish and to wipe this out. And he's like, whoa, you can't do that. He's like, what do you mean? I can use anything. Like, God will use anything because he could be in anything and he can work all that for his good. It's like, okay, well then let me not think that a song has different parameters on God than anything else on the earth. Was it Habakkuk?
I don't know.
I believe it was.
I thought you were going a different direction, and I was going to go Hosea, and then I was like, I don't know that story.
I believe it was.
My first full-time ministry job in a church, the senior pastor, he always wore a suit and tie every day. Always preaching a certain time, but into the office every day. And he had like a radio voice and was an excellent preacher, but it just very straightforward. And I had no like way of like connecting with him. He was 20, 30 years older than me, and I just didn't, but he had a guitar in his office. And I was in his office one time, and it was a classical guitar, and I was like, "Oh, do you play?" And he's like, "Yeah, sometimes." And I was like, "Well, like, what do you like to play?" And this was like during a time where like you were not allowed to listen to anything, other than quote unquote Christian music, and it was kind of that type of church. And he's like, "Well, I usually play Willie Nelson," and I was like, So I was like, "That's what I grew up on." So we had some connection over that. And I remember like once a year he would bring the guitar out on stage and play like a Willie Nelson song, like Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain, as a part of the sermon or something. And it just walls would be falling down all over the place. Like barriers and defenses are dropping, and here's a guy that, went from being, dressed differently, speaks differently, looks different, to being like flesh and blood. He's on a stage and on, but now is like, oh, he likes music too.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right.
I that's pretty rad.
It kind of removed
he's human.
The suit. You guys were never in the suit era, right? Like you guys wore suits on stage?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking. That was in that era.
Oh, that was
not
okay.
here.
Not here. Yeah, okay.
Not
All right, yeah.
church, no,
I do remember when that was a thing. But then
not in my timeline. No.
Okay.
Wearing suits on. Well, yeah, I've had to do that. And even in college, I was in a Bible college environment where you were dressed and and
yeah, but the suit defined. Like you couldn't pass a communion tray unless you were wearing a suit.
Right.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. Like
Things
the
like
suit
that.
was part of the uniform of like now you're
Being
sacred.
in Virginia,
Yeah, you're accepted. Yeah, suit,
been a part
your
of the
clothing.
services.
Your clothing was a sacred.
It was a big thing. Sacred
Yeah.
suit.
Oh, yeah.
You know how you dress. You know, I
Sunday
remember leading
best.
worship in a tie and a suit.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, so you had your sacred clothes instead of your secular clothes. Oh wow!
yeah.
It's like your priestly robes you had to wear.
That's insane. Like, I didn't even think about it in terms of clothing.
Yeah, because clothing was a big part of it.
Because it's pretty easy to be like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. No, I remember when a pastor wore jeans. Like it was like a pastor could wear jeans on stage, and it was like,
Oh, stop. Yeah.
did he not do laundry? Is all his suits at the cleaners?
Denim.
Yeah.
That's the devil's fabric.
That's the devil's denim.
It's got rivets.
D's
There's a new
for
clothing
devil.
line out called Sacred Wear.
Sacred denim.
And it's got suits.
But no, I mean, think
The
about it.
denim
Like,
guy had to go make True Religion.
think about how, like, it's so absurd
Yeah.
to think you're not fit for worship unless you're wearing a suit. Like, that's absurd.
Yeah.
That's totally absurd. Like, it's so. But we're not applying the same logic to music. I mean, we are,
Right.
But people don't.
People don't, right? And I think
But they've done it with. I mean, some and many still are. I mean,
Yeah.
like it would be. It's easy to. It's a little easier to rip apart the clothing thing and be like, gosh, that makes no sense at all. That's bizarre. But it's the exact same logic.
yeah, and it goes both ways because then you see people that are now, you know, there's a new uniform, like the new sacred worship clothing is like a certain, like the baggy shirts or whatever the latest trend of clothing is, and that's a new sort of uniform. So I mean, I guess it can go from like, okay, suit. I see churches in the South, and not picking on the South at all, but just like I've seen churches in the South where they're just jamming on stage, like Baptist churches, like the band is killing it. It's packed church, probably thousands of people there, and everybody's wearing a suit. The women are all wearing long dresses, and they're just worshiping, and that's their uniform. And then you can go to like the other extreme where the streetwear is the new sort of uniform. So I guess we can get
I want to like suit or no, like suit's not a problem. Like wear a suit. Like
Yeah.
wear your Sunday best and dress up. You know,
If that's
enjoy
your culture, yeah.
enjoy that. That's not an issue. But to say it's required,
that's
is or that's the right way. That would be the issue. So
yes.
I think that's really important. And then even culturally, like being respectful. So like we've had rules and there are rules and that's fine. They change. Like no hats on stage. And now we wear hats on stage.
Right.
But there's just been some shift, in that. And that's okay. And that's being respectful of where people are. And so I am a big fan of caring for people and being respectful for where they are.
Yeah, and that's where protocol comes in.
and
yeah.
not just ripping on whatever the tradition is. I don't mean to do that at all. There are other ways to express.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Thinking of the drummer of David Letterman, is that Max?
You're thinking Max Weinberg,
Weinberg?
but I don't think that's
Weinberg?
Letterman.
Was it not Letterman? But it was the Tonight Show.
No,
wasn't
I
it?
think it's
But he would play in a suit, right?
Seth Meyers, maybe. Or Seth-
He would play in a suit, but he was also the drummer for Bruce.
He's been Bruce Springsteen's drummer,
Oh,
band.
so one thing he's wearing one thing and another's wearing
He's the
different.
E Street
yeah, he's
Band.
wearing the E Street
sure.
Band. He's wearing the suit.
Yep.
Here and there. He's
Was
doing
it
that.
Conan? Is it? It's my.
Oh, was it?
It wasn't. It wasn't. Because
Letterman?
because I know Letterman's crew. It was the guy, the bald white guy with the glasses. I can't remember his name.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
yeah. I remember that guy.
Yeah. But no, Conan. Yeah.
It was Conan.
But yeah, he's the E Street Band drummer with Springsteen since he was a kid, which I didn't know. I always thought he was a late night show, and then I saw him with Springsteen. I was like, oh, Springsteen took Conan's drummer. It was like, no, Conan took Springsteen's drummer.
Yeah, for the record, I don't know exactly where I was going with that, other than the fact
Well, he
that
wears a suit
Oh,
for
is this
Conan.
the kind of drummer that
Where-
he is?
yeah,
This
where-
is him.
if I'm
because
pre-
he plays. The other thing is how he plays. He plays with I don't know the name of the
Traditional-
the hand.
traditional
He
stick,
has the
yeah.
traditional where the drumstick is here and he it's more jazz,
Yep.
know, and then
He can
and
get
he's here.
rock. Yeah.
rock drummer.
Yeah, rock drummer. So
Well, no, I think I do because if any of us are going to another church to do something, what is your dress code? What do people wear? I'm going to respect that. I'm going to wear
sure.
that. I'm not trying to like mess up what somebody's doing. You know, I want to be
Yeah.
respectful. I want to. I'll get a suit. You know, whatever it is.
I think recently we were at a funeral together, and we were both wearing suits.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a place to wear suits, you know?
Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah, just to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I own a suit.
Well, and that's like
That's interesting because I did perform at a funeral of a Baptist pastor who passed away.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm going to have to wear a suit to this thing. I'm just going to come ready. There's a chance I may not have needed to. Maybe I don't do the jacket because I'm playing the guitar, and that's understandable, but I definitely want to be sensitive.
Yeah, start
to that.
with
and then
the suit,
I go,
yeah.
and I'm one of the only 2 people dressed to that.
Well, we're in New Hampshire. There's only like 4 people in New Hampshire who own suits.
Whoa,
There's no way to buy suits in New Hampshire.
Yeah, so
You got to go to Mass for suits.
so I'm going to err on the side of like what is most appropriate and
Well, yeah, it's like it's easier to take layers off than to put layers on. So you start with the suit, and then you can go, oh, okay, no jacket, no tie. All right, well, I'll have a button down.
tank top, cool.
Yeah, and I
I got a tank top underneath.
okay. All this to say, and this is really important to me, is like
Because you got to sum this up for us.
I'll try. But the distinction here is like the methodology that we're currently using will change, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So, methods are many, principles are few. Methods always change, principles never do. So methodology is always on the table, and it's not a right or wrong methodology. It's just a methodology. So whether it's style of music, style of dress, style of anything, and then we are leading a local church, so we're responsible for that. What is happening somewhere else, I'm not judging that methodology, and if I get to be a part of something else, I just want to enjoy it, whatever it is, whatever the methodology might be. Whether like a Catholic church where maybe I don't understand, or I'm not invited to share in communion. I'm totally respectful of that. I'll come up and receive a blessing, whatever it is that we're doing. And I that's the kind of freedom that we are invited into with Jesus, just to say like, hey, what are you doing, and how are you reaching people? And it's all on the table, and we can use it instead of going, it's only this. So I think that's what we're trying to say is it's all on the table, and it can all be used for His glory.